Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Wheel of Shakespeare Challenge for the first week of October. We've got a large group with us today, so this is going to be exciting. We got myself, we got Bill, John, Sheila, Alex, Maggie, Elizabeth, Henry, Ted, and we have a new player with us today, Brannon, who is a regular performer in the Eager Beaver Shakespeare performances, which I don't organize, but I sometimes share them to my here on this channel. You've probably seen her and me here before, as well as Sheila doing those. We have another one coming up tomorrow with the Comedy of Errors, so I hope you'll stay tuned for that as well. But we're glad she's joining us. We've got a good group today, so we can get a lot of good monologues and scenes performed for you guys today. The random order that we determined in advance, John is going to perform the first monologue. So John is up, and Elizabeth, who we're glad to have back. She's been out for a couple of weeks, out of the country, I believe. And we're glad she's back. She's going to be on deck after John. So we get the wheel in to see what John's going to do for us. John, how you doing?
Fine. How are you, sir? Thank you.
Very good. Okay, so John is going to perform Rosalind, You Foolish Shepherd. As You Like It. That's Act 3, Scene 5, approximately 40 lines in.
Okay. Just give me 1 second here. I'll almost have this.
Just let me know when you're ready, and I'll take myself out of the screen.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay.
And why, I pray you, who might be your mother that you insult, exult, and all at once over the wretched? But though you have no beauty, as by my faith I see no more in you than without candle may go dark to bed, must you be therefore proud and pitiless? Why, what means this? Why do you look on me? I see no more in you than in the ordinary of nature's sail work. Odds my little life, I think she means to tangle my eyes too. No faith, proud mistress, hope not after it. 'Tis not your inky brows, your black silk hair, your bugle eyeballs, nor your cheek of cream that can enchain my spirits to your worship. You, foolish shepherd, wherefore do you follow her? Like foggy south puffing with wind and rain? You are 1,000 times a properer man than she a woman. 'Tis such fools as you that makes the world full of ill-favored children. 'Tis not her glass but you that flatters her, and out of you she sees herself more proper than any of her lineaments can show her. But, mistress, know yourself. Down on your knees, and thank heaven fasting for a good man's love. For I must tell you friendly in your ear, sell when you can, you are not for all markets. Cry the man mercy, love him, take his offer. Foul is most foul, being foul to be a scoffer. So, take her to thee, shepherd. Fare ye well.
Okay, very nice, John. Okay, Elizabeth is up, and then Brannon is on deck. We'll go after Elizabeth. Elizabeth, welcome back.
Hi.
To have you back here. So you're going to do.
Oh.
Okay, Hamlet, the Act 4 soliloquy, how all occasions do inform. The one that all the great soliloquies Hamlet has is the one that's often forgotten, usually cut from most productions.
How dare they?
Yeah, well, unless you want the production to be 4 hours. But it's a great monologue by itself, even though it so often gets cut.
Okay.
Okay, so go ahead.
How all occasions do inform against me, and spur my dull revenge. What is a man, if his chief good and market of his time be but to sleep and feed? A beast, no more. Sure, he that made us with such large discourse, looking before and after, gave us not that capability and godlike reason to foist in us unused. Now, whether it be bestial oblivion or some craven scruple of thinking too precisely on the event, a thought which, quartered, hath but one part wisdom, and every 3 parts coward, I do not know why yet I live to say this thing's to do, so that I have cause and will and strength and means to do it. Examples gross as earth exhort me. Witness this army of such mass and charge, led by a delicate and tender prince, whose spirit with divine ambition puffed makes mouths at the invisible invent, exposing what is mortal and unsure to all that fortune, death, and danger dare, even for an eggshell. Rightly to be great is not to stir without great argument, but greatly to find quarrel in a straw when honor's at the stake. How stand I then? That have a father killed, a mother stained, excitements of my reason and my blood, and let all sleep, while to my shame I see the imminent death of 20,000 men that for a fantasy and trick of fame go to their graves like beds. Fight for a plot whereon the numbers cannot try the cause, which is not tomb enough and continent to hide the slain. Oh, from this time forth my thoughts be bloody or be nothing worth.
Okay, very nice. That was Elizabeth doing Hamlet's soliloquy from Act 4, commenting on Fortinbras's army about to fight over a plot of land that was worth nothing. And says, why can't I have the same courage? Okay, Brannon, it's your turn now. We're glad you were finally able to join us, and you've been talking to me a lot about wanting to join this as well as the Eager Beaver readings. So now we're ready to go. So let's see what Brandon's going to perform for her first monologue in the Wheel of Shakespeare Challenge. She's going to perform Portia, You See Me, Bassanio. This is just after Bassanio has made the correct pick after the 2 wealthier suitors have failed. Act 3, Scene 2, approximately 136 lines in. Create the banner for you, Portia. Act 3, Scene 2. Let me know when you find it, and then I'll take myself out of the stream and you can launch into your performance.
Oh wait, it's not on here.
Oh, yeah, I should have. I thought we mentioned is what I recommend this. So we're all on the same page. It's a site that I go to. It's shakespeare.mit.edu.
I know that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I always have open on a separate tab.
Oh.
So then
Okay.
I go to that site. Then you click on the relevant play. Go to the.
Yeah. Okay.
So the Merchant of Venice, Act.
This is going to take a while because I have to go in there and find
Okay.
it.
How about you look for it while we spin for the next player?
Good. Sounds good.
And then we'll come back to you. We'll see if you found it.
Sounds good.
So let's see. Ted is up next, and then myself. Well, actually, I'll come after Ted performs. I'll see if Brandon's ready. If not, I'll go. Okay. Let's see. So Ted. Let's see what Ted's gonna do. Spinning the wheel for Ted. Ted's gonna do. Okay, Macbeth, tomorrow.
Oh, almost there. Hold on.
Almost, okay.
Oh, Act 5, 5, Scene 5? No, that's
Act
wrong.
5, Scene 5, I believe.
It's not on there. It must be a different scene.
Maybe I gave you the wrong one.
Yeah, 5 is not tomorrow and tomorrow.
Okay.
If you know.
I'm finding it.
Macbeth.
It starts. His line starts with "She should have died hereafter." There.
Act 5, Scene 5, you said?
Yeah, but at least according to my what I'm looking at here, I see it in Act 5, Scene 5.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I was looking for it to start.
Okay. So whenever you're ready, go ahead.
She should have died hereafter. There would have been a time for such a word. Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow creeps in this petty pace from day to day to the last syllable of recorded time. And all our yesterdays have lighted fools the way to dusty death. Out, out, brief candle. Life's but a walking shadow, a poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage and then is heard no more. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Scene.
Okay, awesome. Brandon, did you find your monologue yet?
I did, but I don't have. I'm not able to split the screen, so I have the monologue. But oh wait, yeah, I do now. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay,
right.
And what? I'm sorry. What scene and act and scene was it?
Act 3, scene.
Act 3, scene. Sorry.
Act 3, Scene 2, about
Okay.
136 lines in.
Okay. Okay, I have Act 3, and then it goes down to Scene 4. Scene 5.
Okay, well, go ahead and keep looking. I'll come back to you again.
Okay.
So again, it's my turn now, and I will perform. Ooh, it's a good one. Minor character with one great monologue that goes to a minor role. So the sergeant in Macbeth. Doubtful it stood, as two spent swimmers that do cling together and choke their art. The merciless MacDonald, worthy to be a rebel. For to that the multiplying villainies of nature do swarm upon him. From the western isles of kerns and gallow glasses is supplied, and fortune, on his damned quarrels smiling, showed like a rebel's whore. But all's too weak for brave Macbeth. Well, he deserves that name. Disdaining fortune, with his brandished steel, was smoked with bloody execution, like valor's minion, carved out his passage, till he faced the slave, which ne'er shook hands, nor bade farewell to him, till he unseamed him from the nave to the chops, and fixed his head upon our battlements. And whence the sun gins his reflection, shipwrecking storms and direful thunders break, so from that spring whence comfort seemed to come, discomfort swells. Mark, King of Scotland, mark, no sooner justice had with valor armed compelled these skipping kerns to trust their heels, but the Norwegian lords, surveying vantage, with furbished arms and new supplies of men, began a fresh assault. Yes, as sparrowed eagles, or the hare the lion. If I say sooth, I must report they were as cannons overcharged with double cracks. So they doubly redoubled strokes upon the foe, except they meant to bathe in reeking wounds or memorize another Golgotha. I cannot tell, but I am faint. My gaseous cry for help. Okay, that was a lot of fun. Okay, Brandon, are you ready to go with Portia?
I have Portia, but I don't have. You said Act 3, Scene 2, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, let's skip to Shelia for now. Let's see if
Okay. Yeah.
you'll find it eventually. Okay, Shelia, you're up next, and then Henry. So Shelia is going to do. Hotspur, my liege, I did deny no prisoners. Henry IV, Part 1, Act 1, Scene 3. Henry, Percy, or Hotspur, or one of the others. What it would be named.
Oh, this is a biggie. Okay.
What? I'm sorry, what did you say?
I said, this is a biggie.
Yeah,
and I checked for Portia. You might want to review for Portia because I think it's a little confusing. Anyway, I'm ready to do Hotspur.
Maybe I gave her the wrong one, and that's what. Yeah, maybe we can spin again for Brandon if she's really struggling to find that, and it's my fault that I. Okay, so go ahead.
Okay.
Whenever you're
ready. My liege, I deny no prisoners. But I remember when the fight was done, when I was dry with rage and extreme toil, breathless and faint, leaning upon my sword, came there a certain lord, neat and trimly dressed, fresh as a bridegroom, and his chin new reaped showed like a stubble land at harvest home. He was perfumed like a milliner, and twixt his finger and his thumb he held a pouncet box, which ever and anon he gave his nose, and tooked away again. Who therewith angry, when it next came there, took it in snuff, and still he smiled and talked, and as the soldiers bore dead bodies by, he called them untaught knaves, unmannerly, to bring a slovenly, unhandsome course between the wind and his nobility. With many holiday and lady terms he questioned me, amongst the rest demanded my prisoners in your majesty's behalf. I then, all smarting with my wounds being cold, to be so pestered with such a popinjay, out of my grief and my impatience answered neglectingly, I know not what he should or he should not, for he made me mad to see him shine so brisk and smell so sweet and talk so like a waiting gentle woman of guns and drums and wounds. God save the mark. And telling me the somerest thing on earth was parmaceti for an inward bruise, and that it was great pity. So it was. This villainous saltpeter should be digged out of the bowels of the harmless earth, which many a good tall fellow had destroyed so cowardly, and but for these vile guns, he would himself have been a soldier. This bald, unjointed chart of his, my lord, I answered indirectly, as I said, and I beseech you, let not his report come current for an accusation betwixt my love and your high majesty.
Okay, excellent, Shelia. Okay, Brianna, if you're still having trouble finding that, if
I have all my other plays up, but I don't know. I can't find that particular speech.
We can spin again for you then.
Okay.
And by the way, Henry, you are on deck after. Let's hope that you can, that I've got this one. Whatever comes up is labeled better and find it. Mistress Quickly. Okay, so this is like He's in Arthur's Bosom monologue about the death of Falstaff. Henry V, Act 2, Scene 3. It's near the like 9 lines in.
Okay.
Create the banner. Can't find it still?
Act 3, right? You can let somebody else go and I'll find it. I will find it.
Okay. So we'll go on to Henry then. Hello, Henry. Okay, so Henry is going to, and then after him, we have Maggie next. Okay, so Henry is going to do. Julia, Oh Hateful Hands, from Two Gentlemen of Verona.
1, 2. What's the play again?
Two Gentlemen of Verona.
Oh, Two Gents.
After she's just ripped up the letter. The very
one,
Act
one.
Act 1, Scene 2. I think it's not the very end, toward the end of the scene.
How does it start? And yet I would have looked. Yes.
That's what she's.
And yet I would. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Okay, so whenever it.
And yet I had all looked. Is that it? And yet I had o'erlooked the letter. It were a shame to call her back again and pray her to a fault for which I chid her. What a fool is she that note I am a maid and would not force the letter to my view, since maids in modesty say no to that which they would have the profferer construe I. Fie, fie, how wayward is this foolish love that, like a testy babe, will scramble the nurse and presently all humbled kiss the rod. How churlishly I chid Lucetta hence, when willingly I would have had her here. How angrily I taught my brow to frown, when inward joy enforced my heart to smile. My penance is to call Lucetta back and ask remission for my folly past. What ho, Lucetta?
Okay, very nice.
Hmm.
Brandon, have you found Mistress Quickly's monologue yet?
No.
Okay. We'll go on then to
Yeah,
Maggie,
please do.
and then Bill's after. If we get through everybody else but yourself and you still can't find it, we'll just let you choose whatever.
Okay.
But, okay. Maggie, where are you? There she is. Hi, Maggie.
Hi.
Okay, so you're going to do. Richard, this is Richard III, but it's not from the play Richard III. It's Duke of Gloucester, who will become Richard III in the next play in the series. Henry VI, Part 3, Act 3, Scene 2.
Okay, leave that up for a second, please.
Edward is just, their family has just been victorious. I think Edward is now the king. But now he's plotting overthrowing the Lancasters. Now he's looking to overthrow his two older brothers for the crown.
It's Gloucester, correct?
Yeah, it would be as Gloucester. I think they will just call him Gloucester in the script.
I'm scrolling. Okay. It's at the very end. Yes, I see it. Okay.
Okay, hold on.
Ooh.
Let me create the banner here.
Tell me when.
Richard. Okay.
Okay. All right. Edward will use women honorably. Would he were wasted, marrow, bones and all, that from his loins no hopeful branch may spring to cross me from my golden time I look for. And yet, between my soul's desire and me, the lustful Edward's title buried is Clarence, Henry, and his young son Edward, and all the unlooked for issues of their bodies to take their rooms ere I can place myself, a cold premeditation for my purpose. Why then I do but dream on sovereignty, like one that stands upon a promontory and spies a far-off shore where he would tread, wishing his foot were equal with his eye, and chides the sea that sunders him from thence, saying he'll laid it dry to have his way. So do I wish the crown, being so far off, and so I chide the means that keeps me from it, and so I say I'll cut the causes off, flattering me with impossibilities. My eyes too quick, my heart o'erweens too much, unless my hand and strength could equal them. Well, say there is no kingdom then for Richard, what other pleasures can the world afford? I'll make my heaven in a lady's lap, and deck my body in gay ornaments, and witch sweet ladies with my words and looks. Oh, miserable thought, and more unlikely than to accomplish 20 golden crowns. Why, love forswore me in my mother's womb, and for I should not deal in her soft laws, she did corrupt frail nature with some bribe, to shrink mine arm up like a withered shrub, to make an envious mountain on my back, where sits deformity to mock my body, to shape my legs of an unequal size, to disproportion me in every part, like to a chaos or an unlicked bear whelp that carries no impression like the dam. And am I then a man to be beloved? Oh, monstrous fault to harbor such a thought. Then, since this earth affords no joy to me, but to command, to check, to o'erbear such as are better person than myself, I'll make my heaven to dream upon the crown, and whiles I live, to account this world but hell, until my misshaped trunk that bears his head be round impaled with a glorious crown. And yet I know not how to get the crown, for many lives stand between me and home. And I, like one lost in a thorny wood that rends the thorns and is rent with the thorns, seeking a way and straying from the way, not knowing how to find the open air, but toiling desperately to find it out, torment myself to catch the English crown, and from that torment I will free myself, or hew my way out with a bloody axe. Why, I can smile and murder whiles I smile, and cry content to that which grieves my heart, and wet my cheeks with artificial tears, and frame my face to all occasions. I'll drown more sailors than the mermaid shall. I'll slay more gazers than the basilisk. I'll play the orator as well as Nestor, deceive more slyly than Ulysses could, and like Sinon, take on another Troy. I can add colors to the chameleon, change shapes with Proteus for advantages, and set the murderous Machiavel to school. Can I do this and cannot get a crown? Tut, were it farther off, I'll pluck it down.
What a great villain. Everybody's familiar with that character in the play that bears his name, but they forget that Shakespeare was already showing his greatness and writing that great character's schemes back in the trilogy that preceded
Absolutely.
it. But that's why I think Olivier was so brilliant in his adaptation, where he adapted the script and he included some stuff that was from the Henry VI trilogy, and parts of that monologue that we just saw Maggie do were put into Olivier's version.
Right at the end of this play is just, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Right at the end of this play is just before the winter of our discontent. And so if you've read this just before you read that, it's like, wow, it really makes sense now.
Yeah, it really does. Okay. Brandon, have you found?
Yes,
okay, great.
Yes,
Brandon has found Mistress Quickly's Arthur's Bosom monologue. We're going to get to see Brandon perform now. So.
Nay, sure he's not in hell. He's in Arthur's bosom, if ever man went to Arthur's bosom, and bade and finer in and went away, and it had been any Christian child, aparted even just before 12 and 1, even at the turning of the tide. For after I saw him fumble with the sheets and play with flowers and smile upon his fingers, ends I knew there was but one way. For his nose was as sharp as a pin, and it babbled of green fields. How now, Sir John, quoth I, what man? Be of good cheer. So I cried out, God, 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 3 or 4 times. Now I to comfort him bid him I should not think of God. I hope there was no need to trouble himself with any such thoughts, yet so bade me lay more clothes on his feet. I put my hand unto the bed and felt them, and they were as cold as any stone. Then I felt to his knees, and they were as cold as any stone, and so upward and upward, and all was as cold as any stone.
Okay, very nice. So we still have Bill and Alex to perform, and after those two, we'll go on to scenes. And I'm just throwing this out here. If anybody has any objection, let me know. But I think we mentioned we had gone away from doing the larger scenes because it kind of crowded out the other stuff. And I thought maybe we would still do them, but occasionally. And I think today, since we've got such a big group, which is a good thing, today would be a good time to do it. We got to get roles for more people, so now would be a time to do a large scene, and then that has 4 characters, and that still leaves 6 more people to be cast in a smaller scene. And just so you are prepared, what I think we'll do, another one that I've been considering when I've been emailing you about that, is another one from Henry V, Act 2, Scene 4, where the French are contemplating it. The French starts with "Now the English come upon us." The king, the Dauphin, the constable, and the messenger. I'm going to combine those so that everyone gets. So that's 4: the constable / messenger, and then the Duke of Exeter, the uncle of the other king who comes to give the ultimatum to this king. So those are 4 roles. So I think we'll do that one plus probably 3 more smaller scenes that will let the wheel determine. So if anybody has an objection to that, let me know now. But I think that'd be a good way. We'll save the larger scenes for when we've got a larger group like we do today, which is good. Okay, anyway, Bill, it is your turn. We still got 2 more monologues to do. And we got Bill and then Alex. So Bill is going to perform. Round and around the wheel goes, seeing what Bill is going to perform. The sleep Prospero, such stuff as dreams are made on. Act 4, Scene 1. 8 lines in. And it ends with such stuff as it would begin. I believe it starts with, "You do look, my son, in a moved sort, as if you were dismayed." I know that one practically by heart. I'm almost off book for it. So it would start with he's talking to Ferdinand. "You do look, my son, in a moved sort." Is it?
All right, I just found it. Okay.
Okay. So whenever you're ready.
"You do look, my son, in a moved sort, as if you were dismayed. Be cheerful, sir. Our revels now are ended. These, our actors, as I foretold you, were all spirits, and are melted into air, into thin air. And like the baseless fabric of this vision, the cloud-capped towers, the gorgeous palaces, the solemn temples, the great globe itself, yea, all which it inherit, shall dissolve. And like this insubstantial pageant faded, leave not a rack behind. We are such stuff as dreams are made on, and our little life is rounded with a sleep. Sir, I am vexed. Bear with this weakness. My brain is troubled. Be not disturbed with my infirmity. If you be pleased, retire into my cell and there repose. A turn or two I'll walk to still my beating mind. Scene.
I just love that. And you did great with it. Okay, so finally I have one more person that hasn't done a monologue yet, Alex, and then we will start the scenes. And one other thing about scenes to mention is that I did see Henry did message me. He has to leave us at 1:30. So what we're going to do as usual, we're going to see how many scenes. We'll get a roll for everybody. We'll then cast it based on spinning to see who gets the first choice, etc. But whatever scene Henry's in, I'll make sure that one goes first so that we're able to include him before he has to go. But first, it is Alex's turn.
Hello.
Hello. Alex is going to perform. Lancelot Gobbo. So Act 2, Scene 2 of Merchant of Venice. I believe that's the top of the scene. Certainly my conscience will serve me to flee from the Jew.
Okay. Yeah, I've got it.
Create the banner. Okay, so whenever you're ready.
Okay. Certainly my conscience will serve me to run from this Jew, my master. The fiend is at mine elbow and tempts me, saying to me, Gobbo, Lancelot Gobbo, good Lancelot, or good Gobbo, or good Lancelot Gobbo, use your legs, take the start, run away. My conscience says, no, take heed, honest Lancelot, take heed, honest Gobbo, or, as aforesaid, honest Lancelot Gobbo, do not run, scorn running with thy heels. Well, the most courageous fiend bids me back. Via, says the fiend. Away, says the fiend. For the heavens, rouse up a brave mind, says the fiend, and run. Well, my conscience, hanging about the neck of my heart, says very wisely to me, my honest friend Lancelot, being an honest man's son, or rather an honest woman's son, for indeed my father did something smack, something grotto, he had a kind of taste. Well, my conscience says, Lancelot, budge not. Budge, says the fiend, budge not, says the conscience. Conscience, says I, you counsel well. Fiend, say I, you counsel well. To be ruled by my conscience, I should stay away with the Jew, my master, who, God bless the mark, is a kind of devil. And to run away from the Jew, I should be ruled by the fiend, who, saving your reverence, is the devil himself. Certainly the Jew is the very devil incarnate, and in my conscience is but a kind of hard conscience to offer to counsel me to stay with the Jew. The fiend gives the more friendly counsel. I will run, fiend. My heels are at your command. I will run.
Okay, very nice. So again, the scene that I was saying for the larger scene would be Henry V, Act 2, Scene 4. It begins with, thus comes the English with full power upon us. It's the King of France with the Dauphin and the Constable. And then there's one little line of a messenger. We can just give that to the constable. We'll combine those two characters. So it's like, imagine that rather than the messenger comes in, you can say the messenger comes in, hands a note to the constable who gives the news. So we'll combine those lines. So that's 4 characters, and we got to find roles for 6 more people with smaller scenes. So in addition to that scene, here's what we'll do. Let's see what the wheel determines. Othello, Act 1, Scene 1. That's 3 people. Rodrigo starts with Rodrigo, Iago, and then they approach Barbancio to tell him about what happened to Desdemona. So that's 3 characters in that scene. Comedy of Errors, Adriana and Luciana. And let's see, Comedy of, so Adriana and Luciana. So since the first one that I spun after the large scene has 3 people in it, that's we now have there's roles for 9 people now when you include the larger scene. So what we'll do for that, rather than have an extra, we talked about that, we'll have the 10th and final choice of role will be, and again, if that's what you want to do, go ahead and say as your first choice, I would just like to perform a second monologue. So the 10 choices of roles for the 10 of us are, again, Henry V, Act 2, Scene 4, the King of France, the Dauphin, the Constable, who will combine with the messenger, and then the Duke of Exeter from England, who comes in to give the ultimatum. Then, beginning from the top of Othello, Rodrigo, Iago, and Barbancio. Then Comedy of Errors, Act. Crap, I think I closed it. I think Act 2, Scene 1, Adriana, Luciana, and the 10th and final choice is say I would like to spin again and do another monologue. So let's now go to the names here, see who is going to get the first choice amongst those 10 roles. Neil's not with us. Eleanor's not with us. Okay, so the first choice of those roles will be Bill. What would you like?
May I have Iago, please?
Iago. You got it. Next choice. Brandon, what would you like?
The second character. I have to go back to the play now.
The Dauphin?
Yes.
Okay. Brandon will be the Dauphin in Henry V, Act 2, Scene 4. Next choice. I'll take the King of France. Well, you know, actually, no. I'm gonna take Duke of Exeter. I'll take the Duke of Exeter. So the king is still open. Next choice. So we still have the king, the constable, Rodrigo, Barbancio, Adriana, Luciana, or a second monologue. Ed, what would you like?
I'll take King Henry V.
Actually, it's the King of France. Yeah. Do you want that? Do you want the King of France at the top?
Yes, that's good. That's fine.
Okay, great. Elizabeth, what would you like?
Adriana.
Adriana. John, what would you like?
I guess Brabantio.
Maggie, what would you like?
I will take Luciana.
Okay. Alex, we got.
I'll take the Duke.
You'll take what?
The Duke in King Henry V.
You want the constable?
Well, there's also the Duke in this scene, right? Or
Yeah,
not?
I took that one.
You took that one, then the constable, okay.
So you'll be the constable, okay. Okay, so now it's between who's going to be Rodrigo or who wants to spin for another monologue. So those are the two. So Henry, do you want to be Rodrigo or do you want to spin for another monologue?
Rodrigo, please.
Okay. So we'll do your scene first, since I know you have to leave early, and then who is the one person that's left? So Shelia. So Shelia, when we're done with these scenes, Shelia will spin again to do a second monologue since she didn't get a role in one of these. So we'll start with, let's see, Rodrigo. So Othello, Act 1, Scene 1. Let me create the banner. It's going to be Henry, Bill, and John. John comes in later. It starts with just Rodrigo and Iago.
Are we ready to go?
Hold on. Henry, and then Bill is Iago. I shouldn't have put Alex. Are you both ready to go with this one? And then John will be added in later as Barbancio.
What was the question?
Are you ready to go?
I am, yes.
Okay.
Yes, me. Yes, I am.
Okay, so whenever you're ready, we're going to start. This is the beginning of Othello with Rodrigo and Iago on stage.
Hold on. Oh. Sorry, I'm killing my screens here. Okay. Tush, never tell me. I take it much unkindly that thou, Iago, who hast had my purse as if the strings were thine, shouldst know of this.
Sblood, but you will not hear me if ever I did dream of such a matter. Abhorred me.
Thou toldst me thou didst hold him in thy hate.
Despise me if I do not. 3 great ones of the city in personal suit to make me his lieutenant off cap to him. And by the faith of man, I know my price. I am worth no worse a place. But he, as loving his own pride and purposes, evades them with a bombast circumstance horribly stuffed with epithets of war. And in conclusion, unsuits my mediators. For certes, says he, I have already chose my officer. And what was he? Forsooth, a great arithmetician, one Michael Cassio of Florentine, a fellow almost damned in a fair wife that never set a squadron in the field nor the division of a battle knows more than a spinster, unless the book is Steeric, wherein the togaed counsels can propose as masterly as he. Mere prattle without practice is all his soldiership. But he, sir, had the election, and I, of whom his eyes had seen the proof at Rhodes, at Cyprus, and on other grounds, Christian and heathen must be belied and calmed by editor and creditor. This countercaster, he, in good time, must his lieutenant be, and I, God bless the mark, his moorship's ancient.
By heaven, I'd rather be his hangman.
Why, there's no remedy. 'Tis the curse of service. Preferment goes by letter and affection, and not by old gradation, where each second stood heir to the first. Now, sir, be judge yourself whether I in any just term am fine to love the Moor.
I would not follow him then.
Oh, sir, content you. I follow him to serve my turn upon him. We cannot all be masters, nor all masters cannot be truly followed. You shall mark many a duteous and knee-crooking knave that, doting on his own obsequious bondage, wears out his time, much like his master's ass, for naught but provender. And when he's old, cashiered, whip me such honest knaves. Others there are, who, trimmed in form and visages of duty, keep yet their hearts attending on themselves, and throwing but shows of service on their lords, do well thrive by them. And when they have lined their coats, do themselves homage. These fellows have some soul, and such a one do I profess myself. For sir, it is as sure as you are Rodrigo, were I the Moor, I would not be Iago. In following him, I follow but myself. Heaven is my judge, not I for love and duty, but seeming so for my particular end. For when my outward action doth demonstrate the native hue and figure of my heart in compliment extern, 'tis not long after, but I will wear my heart upon my sleeve for daws to peck at. I am not what I am.
What a full fortune does the thick lips owe if he can't carry it thus?
Call up her father, rouse him, make after him, poison his delight, proclaim him in the streets, incense her kinsmen, and though he in the fertile climate dwell, plague him with flies, though that his joy be joy, yet throw such changes of vexation on it as it may lose some color.
All right, here's her father's house. I'll call aloud.
Do. With like timorous accent and dire yell as when by night in negligence the fire is spied in populous cities.
What ho! Brabantio! Signor Brabantio, ho!
Awake! What ho, Brabantio! Thieves! 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 Look to your house, your daughter and your bags. Thieves! Thieves!
What is the reason of this terrible summons? What is the matter there?
Oh, Signor, is all your family within?
Are your doors locked?
Why? Wherefore ask you this?
Zoon, sir, you're robbed. For shame. Put on your gown. Your heart is burst. You have lost half your soul. Even now, very now, very now, an old black ram is topping your white ewe. Arise, arise, awake the snorting citizens with the bell, or else the devil will make a grandsire of you. Arise, I say.
What? Have you lost your wits?
Most reverend Signor, do you know my voice?
Not I. What are you?
My name is Rodrigo.
The worser welcome. I have charged thee not to haunt my doors. In honest plainness thou hast heard me say, my daughter is not for thee. And now in madness, being full of supper and distempering draughts, upon malicious bravery dost thou come to start my quiet?
Yes, sir.
But thou must needs be sure my spirit and my place have in them power to make this bitter to thee.
Patience, good sir.
What tells me of robbing? This is Venice. My house is not a grange.
Most grave Brabantio, in simple and pure soul, I come to you.
Soon, sir, you are one of those that will not serve God if the devil bid you. Because we come to you to do you service, and you think we are ruffians, you'll have your daughter covered with a Barbary horse. You'll have your nephews neigh at you. You'll have horses for cousins and jennets for Germans.
What profane wretch art thou?
I am one, sir, that comes to tell you your daughter and the Moor are now making the beast with two backs.
Thou art a villain.
You are a senator.
This thou shalt answer. I know thee, Rodrigo.
Sir, I will answer anything. But I beseech you, if it be your pleasure and most wise consent, as partly I find it is, that your fair daughter, at this odd even and dull watch of the night, transported with no worse nor better guard, but with a knave of common hire, a gondolier, to the gross clasps of the lascivious Moor, if this be known to you, and your allowance, we then have done you bold and saucy wrongs. But if you know not this, my manners tell me we have your wrong rebuke. Do not believe that from the sense in all civility I thus would play and trifle with your reverence. Your daughter, if you have not given her leave, I say again, hath made a gross revolt, tying her duty, beauty, wit, and fortunes on an extravagant and wheeling stranger of here and everywhere. Straight satisfy yourself. If she be in her chamber or your house, let loose for me on me the justice of the state for thus deluding you.
Strike on the tinder, ho! Give me a taper. Call up all my people. This accident is not unlike my dream. Belief of it oppresses me already. Light, I say, light!
Farewell. For I must leave you. It seems not meet nor wholesome to my place to be produced as if I stay, I shall against the Moor. For I do know the state, however this may gall him with some check, cannot with safety cast him, for he's embarked with such loud reason to the Cyprus wars, which even now stand in act, that for their souls another of his fathom they have none to lead their business. In which regard, though I do hate him as I do hell pains, yet, for necessity of present life, I must show out a flag and sign of love, which is indeed but sign. That you shall surely find him, lead to the Sagittary the raised search, and there will I be with him. So, farewell.
True and evil. Gone she is. And what's to come of my despised time is naught but bitterness. Now, Rodrigo, where didst thou see her? Oh, unhappy girl, with the Moor, say'st thou? Who would be a father? How didst thou know 'twas she? Oh, she deceives me past thought. What said she to you? Get more tapers, raised all my kindred. Are they married, think you?
Truly, I think they are.
Oh, heaven, how got she out? Oh, treason of blood. Fathers from hence, trust not your daughters' minds. Be what you see them act. Is there not charms by which the property of youth and maidhood may be abused? Have you not read, Rodrigo, of such something?
Yes, sir, I have indeed.
Call up my brother. Oh, would you had had her. Some one way, some another. Do you know where we may apprehend her and the Moor?
I think I can discover him, if you please. To get good guard and go along with me.
Pray you lead on. At every house I'll call. I may command it most. Get weapons, ho! And raise some special officers of night. Ho, good Rodrigo, I'll deserve your pains.
Okay, very nice. Good introduction to all the chaos that ensues in the rest of the play. That scene is okay. So next we're going to do Act 2, Scene 4 from Henry V. We're in the French King's Court. It starts with, let's see, the King of France, his son, and the constable Alex, and then I enter later as the Duke of Exeter to deliver the ultimatum of the opposing king. And remember, Alex, you're also going to, the one line from the messenger, you'll imagine that a character just do that. Will not you just receive the notice and you're reading it to them. All three of you are ready to go. You found the scene, you know how to start. Okay, yes. So Ted will start us off.
Thus comes the English with full power upon us, and more than carefully it us concerns to answer royally in our defences. Therefore the Dukes of Berry and of Bretagne, of Brabant and of Orleans shall make forth. And you, Prince Dauphin, with all swift dispatch, to line and new repair our towns of war with men of courage and with means defendant. For England his approaches makes as fierce as waters to the sucking of a gulf. It fits us then to be as provident as fear may teach us out of late examples, left by the fatal and neglected English upon our fields.
My most redoubted father, it is most meet we arm us gainst the foe, for peace itself should not so dull a kingdom. The war nor no known quarrel were in question, but that defenses, musters, preparations should be maintained, assembled, and collected, as were war in expectation. Therefore, I say 'tis meet we shall go forth to view the sick and feeble parts of France, and let us do it with no show of fear. No, with no more than if we heard that England were busied with a Whitsun Morris dance. For, my good liege, she is so idly kinged, her sceptre is so fantastically borne by a vain, giddy, shallow, humorous youth, that fair attends her not.
Oh, peace, Prince Dauphin. You are too much mistaken in this king. Question your grace, the late ambassadors, with what great state he heard their embassy, how well supplied with noble counsellors, how modest in the exception, and withal, how terrible in constant resolution. And you shall find his vanities forspent were but the outside of the Roman Brutus, covering discretion with the coat of folly. As gardeners do with ordure, hide those roots that shall first spring and be most delicate.
Well, 'tis not so, my lord high constable, but though we think it is so, it is no matter. In case of defense, 'tis best to weigh the enemy more mighty than he seems. So the proportions of defense are filled, which of a weak or niggardly projection doth like a miser spoil his coat with scanting a little cloth.
Think we King Harry strong, and princes, look you strongly armed to meet him. The kindred of him hath been fleshed upon us, and he is bred out of that bloody strain that haunted us in our familiar paths. Witness our too much memorable shame when Cressy battle fatally was struck, and all our princes captived by the hand of that black name, Edward, Black Prince of Wales, whiles that his mountain sire, on mountain standing, up in the air, crowned with a golden sun, saw his heroical seed, and smiled to see him mangle the work of nature and deface the patterns that by God and by French fathers had 20 years been made. This is a stem of that victorious stock. Let us fear the native mightiness and fate of him.
Ambassadors from Harry, King of England, do crave admittance to your majesty.
We'll give them present audience. Go and bring them. You see this chase is hotly followed, friends.
Turn head and stop pursuit, for coward dogs must spin their mouths when what they seem to threaten runs far before them. Good my sovereign, take up the English short and let them know of what a monarchy you are the head. Self-love, my liege, is not so vile a sin as self-neglecting.
From our brother England?
From him. And thus he greets your majesty. He wills you, in the name of God Almighty, that you divest yourself and lay apart the borrowed glories that by gift of heaven, by law of nature and of nations, belong to him and to his heirs, namely, the crown, and all wide-stretched honors that pertain by custom and the ordinance of time unto the crown of France. That you may know, 'tis no sinister, nor no awkward claim picked from the wormholes of long-vanished days, nor from the dust of old oblivion raked. He sends you this most memorable line, in every branch truly demonstrative, willing to overlook this pedigree, and when you find him evenly derived from his most famed and famous ancestor, Edward III, he bids you then resign your crown and kingdom, indirectly held from him, the native and true challenger.
Or else what follows?
Bloody constraint. For if you hide the crown even in your hearts, there will he rake for it. Therefore, in fierce tempest is he coming, in thunder and an earthquake, like a Jove, that if requiring fail, he will compel, and bids you, in the bowels of the Lord, deliver up the crown, and to take mercy on the poor souls, for whom his hungry war opens his vasty jaws. And on your head, turning the widow's tears, the orphan's cries, the dead man's blood, the pining maiden's groans, for husbands, fathers, and betrothed lovers that shall be swallowed in this controversy. This is his claim, his threatening, and my message. Unless the Dauphin be in presence here, to whom expressly I bring greeting too.
For us, we will consider of this further. Tomorrow shall you bear our full intent back to our brother England.
For the Dauphin I stand here for him. What to him from England?
Scorn and defiance, slight regard, contempt, and anything that may not misbecome the slender sender doth he prize you at. Thus says my king, and if your father's highness do not, in grant of all demands at large, sweeten the bitter mock you sent his majesty, he'll call you to so hot an answer of it, that caves and wombly voltages of France shall chide your trespass, and return your mock in second accent of his ordinance.
Say, if my father render fair return, it is against my will. For I desire nothing but odds with England to that end, as matching to his youth and vanity. I present him with a Paris balls.
He'll make your Paris Louvre shake for it. We're at the mistress court of mighty Europe, and be assured, you'll find a difference, as we his subjects have in wonder found, between the promise of his greener days and these he masters now. Now he weighs time even to the utmost grain, that you shall read in your own losses if he stay in France.
Tomorrow shall you know our mind at full.
Dispatch us with all speed, lest that our king come here himself to question our delay, for he is footed in this land already.
You shall be soon dispatch us with fair conditions. A night is but small breath and little pause to answer matters of this consequence.
Okay, awesome. So the last, before we go on to a second monologue from Celia, we have Adriana and Luciana from Comedy of Errors to be played by Elizabeth and Maggie. Have you? I was busy doing this one, so I didn't get a chance to. Have you both found the scene where you're going from?
I have found it. It's a little sweet thing.
Okay, so you're both ready to go?
I don't, Elizabeth. I'm looking at the script, so I can't see you.
I'm ready to go.
Okay, great.
Okay, so whenever ready, go ahead.
Neither my husband nor the slave returned that in such haste I sent to seek his master. Sure, Luciana, it is 2 o'clock.
Perhaps some merchant hath invited him, and from the mart he's somewhere gone to dinner. Good sister, let us dine and never fret. A man is master of his liberty. Time is their master, and when they see time, they'll go or come. If so, be patient, sister.
Why should their liberty than ours be more?
Because their business still lies out of door.
Look, when I serve him so, he takes it ill.
Oh, no, he is the bridle of your will.
There's none but asses will be bridled so.
Why, headstrong liberty is lashed with woe. There's nothing situate under heaven's eye but half his bound in earth, in sea, in sky. The beasts, the fishes, and the winged fowls are their male subjects and at their controls. Men, more divine, the master of all these, lords of the wide world and wild watery seas, endued with intellectual sense and souls of more preeminence than fish and fowls, and masters to their females and their lords. Then let your will attend on their accords.
This servitude makes you to keep unwed.
Not this, but troubles of the marriage
But
bed.
were you wedded, you would bear some sway.
Ere I learn love, I'll practice to obey.
How if your husband starts some other where?
Till he come home again, I would forbear.
Patience unmoved. No marvel though she pause. They can be meek that have no other cause. A wretched soul, bruised with adversity, we bid be quiet when we hear it cry. But were we burdened with like weight of pain, as much or more would we ourselves complain. So thou, that hast no unkind mate to grieve thee, with urging helpless patience, wouldst relieve me? But if thou live to see like right bereft, this fool begged patience in thee will be left. What do you have to say to that?
I'll live for it when it comes. I'm sorry, in mine, that's the end, correct?
Enter Dromio of Ephesus. Okay, great. So lastly, Shelia was left out of the scenes based on the randomness, so she will get to go again. And I see that Eleanor was in another show, but she has joined us. So we'll see about letting her at least do her monologue. So we got 2 more monologues before we call it a day on this one. So Shelia. So Shelia is going to do for her second monologue, since she didn't get included in the scene based on the spin. Viola, I left no room with her, 12th night.
Okay, what am I it's not posted. What am I going to be reading?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't. It's the 12th night. Viola, yeah, I left no ring with her, 12th night. Yeah, I screwed up. I didn't put that in the end of Act 2, Scene 2. Malvolio has just thrown the ring down, said Olivia's returned it.
Okay, got it.
Okay, so whenever...
I left no ring with her. What means this lady? Fortune forbid my outside have not charmed her. She made good view of me, indeed, so much that sure methought her eyes had lost her tongue, for she did speak in starts, distractedly. She loves me, sure. The cunning of her passion invites me in this churlish messenger. None of my lord's ring. Why, he sent her none. I am the man, if it be so, as 'tis. Poor lady, she were better love a dream. Disguise, I see thou art a wickedness, wherein the pregnant enemy dost much. How easy is it for the proper faults in women's waxen hearts to set their forms? Alas, our frailty is the cause, not we. For such as we are made of, such as we be, how will this fadge? My master loves her dearly, and I, poor monster, fond as much on him, and She mistaken seems to dote on me. What will become of this? As I am a man, my state is desperate for my master's love. As I am a woman, now, alas the day, thriftless sighs shall poor Olivia breathe. Oh, time, thou must untangle this, not I. It is too hard a knot for me to untie.
Okay, fabulous. So, Eleanor, are you with us?
I'm here.
Okay, great. Yeah, we saw you were doing another show. You joined us a little too late to join the scenes, but if you'd like to, we can still have you do a monologue.
Well, my camera is showing yellow.
Yeah, we're not seeing you here. No, I think that's. Would you like to perform even though we can't see you, or
that doesn't a radio performance?
Yeah.
What the heck?
Okay, what the heck? So yeah, I don't know how to. I think you need to check the settings on your end because.
How about I leave the studio and come back and see if it makes a difference?
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Can you see? Oh no, it's yellow.
Still yellow. So it's up to you. You can either wait till next week or just perform radio performance this time.
Radio performance.
Okay. So Eleanor's radio performance will be of.
Give me something that'll be good as a radio performance.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, I don't choose. The wheel does. That's it's a puck. If we shadows are offended, the very ending of Midsummer Night's Dream.
Okay. I shall hunt it out. Midsummer Night's Dream. Puck. And show full speech. Okay.
Okay, so whenever you're ready, go ahead.
All right. If we shadows have offended, think but this, and all is mended, that you have but slumbered here while these visions did appear, and this weak and idle theme no more yielding but a dream. Gentles, do not reprehend. If you pardon, we will mend, and as I am an honest puck, if we have unearned luck now to 'scape the serpent's tongue, we will make amends ere long, else the puck a liar call. So good night unto you all. Give me your hands if we be friends, and Robin shall restore amends.
Okay, awesome. That yeah, you were right. That was you got a good one. That the language is so great it worked even as a radio performance. So I'm glad we got such a good, nice turnout today. We had some really good monologue choices. We had some good scenes, and we had some really good performances from everybody involved. I thank you all. I remind you again, Eager Beaver Shakespeare tomorrow. You can look them up on Facebook, and I will try my best to also share the stream to here on this YouTube channel. Comedy of Errors, myself, Brannon, and Sheila be involved in that. So forward to that, and look forward to next week and every Saturday with Wheel of Shakespeare Challenge. Thank you for joining us. See you next week. Bye now.